Hello everybody. We're going to be continuing on with the RPG project and actually make rooms change. Today I have, this is my map that I'm using. Remember, this PNG is representing sort of the map of the layout of the different rooms. The rooms are, this is our starting room just because I've chosen 1, 1 as the starting coordinates. So if you think about this as a single room, then it has one exit that'll be to the east or to the right. We already got it working so it shows that single door on the right hand side of the screen. What doesn't work right now is the exit actually functioning to take us over to this room. And if we move to this room, then that would represent that would be drawn visually as a room with 3 exits, one going to the left, one to the right, and one to the one down, or west, east, and south. So if we're in that room, that's what we should see. And then, we should be able to move from room to room and see those things changing up. So let's do it. We're going to start with a very important change we all have to make. I don't know if I had put this in the last video, so I'll make sure that this is something we do right now. In our play tab and in our switch room function, there's one more thing we have to do, and that is we're going to have to add in clearing our exits. When we move from one exit to the next, we're going to have to assume there's no exits and then do our check to see if there are, and then sort of set them to true. But we have no way to set them back to false right now. So at the beginning, whenever you switch rooms, I'm just going to initialize them all to false. So you can do this in a nice chain. North equals south equals west equals east equals false. This will just set all these to false at the beginning. Really important step. Otherwise, when we go to a new room, the old exits will still be true and they'll still show up. So this sort of resets everything, and then we can take a look at the colors in the map and then decide whether or not the new room has exits. So now we are gonna go, now that we've made that change, we're going to add in some stuff in our hero. Our hero is going to be doing the checking for seeing if it's running into an exit, and it's basically going to be a collision type of function. These are, if I run this again, you'll see the exits are really circles. Here's an exit, it's a circle. Here's my hero, it's a circle. So the code that will check to see if I'm touching an exit is really just a circle collision, which we've been doing for months. So, we're going to compare the distance between the two circles and the sum of the radii of the two circles. And if the distance is less than the sum, then we must be touching the exit. However, we only want to check for exits that are there. I don't want to be checking for a north exit if there's no north exit. So that's where these north, south, east variables come into play. So those variables keep track of whether there is a room to the north or the south or the east or the west. If there's an exit there, we kind of just determine that information in the switch room function. So we can use that in Hero to only check for the north exit if we're in a room with a north exit. So it's going to look something like this. I'm in the act function right now of my hero, and I'm just going to put in some, actually I guess I'm not in it, there, now I'm in it. I'm just going to put in some if statements to say, hey, if there is a north exit, I'll check north exit. And if I'm going to the south, I'll check for the south exit. You'll notice these are highlighting as red. No problem, no problem. I'll talk about that in a second. If there's an east exit, I'll check for collisions with the east exit, and if there's supposed to be a west exit in here, I'll check for exits to the west as well. So what have I done? I got these errors going on, but you know what? That's okay. What these are just checking to see, hey, if this will be the function that checks to see if I have a collision. So I'm going to make a separate, another void, another function that will allow us to sort of take a look at each of these things individually. So I'm going to make a void check north exit. Actually, you know what? I think I'll make void check east exit, because that's the one I have that actually works. So notice it actually is working now. Maybe I'll go make them all. While I'm at it, actually, I'll do void check north exit. Oops. Void check south exit. And I'll do east and west as well. So I have all of the different functions that will be doing the checking to see if I'm colliding with that door. And I'll only turn them on, or I'll only call them if there's supposed to be an exit to those places. So let's do check east exit. So what will happen is I'll check to see if I'm touching the east door. So I'm going to use the distance function to see if the distance between my x and y coordinates and the door's x and y coordinates. And I'll go to my play function and look and see. Looks like eastern door has got this coordinate. Is less than I think 65 is the sum of their radii. I just have a diameter of 30, so radius 15, and I have a diameter of 100, so radius 50. So 50 plus 15 is 65. So I'm just checking that, and if it collides with the east, what I want to do is I want to shift my room x and room y variables. Which one's going to change if we're going east and west? It's going to be room x. So if I'm going to the west, that's to the right, so I want to increase room x by 1. Easiest way to do that is room x plus plus, or you could also do room x equals room x plus 1. That will increase it. And then we have to move our player. I'm just going to move it to the center of the screen for simplicity, but we don't want it to be still on the edge of the screen, or we'll be touching the new east door when we transfer over to the next side. So I'm just going to put the character in the center of the screen for simplicity, and you guys can adjust that. And then the most important, well, I mean, they're all important, but the actual thing that will change the room is the switch room function. So I have that switch room function over here. Make sure you've added in this piece of code here to reset the rooms at the beginning. Now that we can switch rooms, that's going to be really important. And then I'll just call switch room after I've changed the room x, room y variables. I do switch room. And I don't know, let's see if it works. I'll run it, and we'll see we have the one eastern exit. I'll walk over, I'm going to touch it, we'll see if we switch rooms. Hey, it worked. I can't go back because I haven't programmed these exits yet, but I could probably go to this one, and that makes sense as to where I should be. So I've sort of, you saw at first I had an exit that was to the right because I was in this room. Then I went to a room with 3 exits because I was in this room. And then I had an exit that's currently only to the left because I'm in this room, and there's a room to my left. So it's working out nicely. So you guys will do a similar set of functions. You're also going to fill out the check north, check south, and check west exits. So you have to think about, if you're going north, how is room x and room y going to change? If you're going south, if you're going west, how does room x and room y change? You can go to the center of the screen, but what would be even better is if you go to the opposite side of the screen. If you go to the right, then in the new room, you'll be on the left-hand side. So instead of appearing in the center of the room, which doesn't really make sense, although it's practically, it's good enough for now, try to have the character appear on the, the opposite side when you switch over from one room to the next. There we go. So hopefully you get your room switching and you can see your project working. If you're having some problems, here's a couple of nice print line statements that I put in my act function. In case you typed in something wrong or you're not sure why it's not working, what I'm doing is just printing out room x and room y, And I'm also printing out north, south, east, west. So you can see in my printout, I can see I'm supposed to be in room, 3, 1, and that's like x coordinate, y coordinate, and then it has these exits, and that's in north, south, east, west order. So there's only an exit to the west. That's checking out. And if you are seeing problems, that'll give you an idea why that is. Okay, thanks everybody.